Unveiling unsettling truths. Critical forensic discoveries in Maddie Soto's troubling case.
Maddie was gone from her body and the swabs, etc. So I'm just going to show this, and then I'm going to go over some notes that I saw, and I was like, whoa. So the docket had this, and then there were some crazy notes that, again, trigger warning, guys, because some of this stuff is just, yeah, is just trigger warning. That's all I can say. What's up, my Leo twin, Sharon Belko? Good to see you. You didn't miss anything. You just got here. You can go back and watch it. It's only like a 6-minute video. It's in the link. All right. And yeah, good to see Melanie here. Good to see Hossein here. Where has Wyatt been? Where's Wyatt been? All right. Well, let's take a look at this. FDLE. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it again if you have. All right, so let me zoom in on this a bit. More paperwork. And I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, I wonder if the judge is going to grant any of these motions for suppression to bring in new evidence, guys. I have no idea what they're thinking, what they're talking about, any of that. So has anybody, you guys probably saw this on the other channels. All right. I see, I'm looking at you guys in chat, and you guys are talking about root beer barrels and all kinds of crazy stuff. All right, let's take a look at this. All right, so the FDLE, this was crazy. I'm going to just show it, and then I'll show you the notes. So this was the lab reports, subject Stephen Stearns, and the victim is Madeline Soto. Now, the FDLE is the swabs that they took, and then subject is Stephen Stearns. So they took those swabs, and that's okay. It's not one to one side. You guys are crazy. I shouldn't watch my text messages. All right. So Madeline Soto, Stephen Stearns, that's what they did. Reference report evidence submitted to Florida Department of Law Enforcement June 5th, 2024. Conclusions, opinions, interpretations, and there's a swab. All right. So following evidence, container A submitted for YSTR DNA analysis, DNA extractions from items 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which we'll find out in a minute, and corresponding extractions. All right. So they did a buccal swab represented by Stephen Stearns. All right. And it was obtained from item 3, which I'm not sure what item 3 and item 6 is until we get down there. And of course, you can see plunder all over this, and then you're going to see docket on the other one. So thanks to them for always getting the most up-to-date information. All right. Wild Wanderer says, I've been out. My truck died walking. I'm sorry, you've been walking. All right. I keep going back to it for knowing all that I know. Yeah, we keep going back to that too, Sharon, now that we know what we know. And maybe we'll find out more even soon, huh? All right. Let's go back to this. All right, so we're looking at these specific items from Stephen, and I just missed. Okay, so 3, I missed that. It says items 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.1, 8.2, all that. Item 3 was a buccal swab from Stephen. Item 6 was a left fingernail clipping from Madeline Soto. And as a result, they obtained that from item 6. So we've got a buccal swab from Stephen, and they're going to compare that when I believe they find DNA, Stephen's DNA all over her chest. Again, it gets graphic in the notes, so you guys, trigger warning. Now, this is Maddie's clipping from her nails. And then we got item 10, which is a left-hand swab for Maddie. And it says, due to limited nature, results obtained from item 10, the data is not interpretable. So we don't know whose DNA was under her nails, what she did. Was Maddie scratching at herself on her neck? You know, that happens when you are strangled. And I'm going to go back to someone's comment earlier that said, when somebody dies of a homicide, you guys, they should not, thank you, Kylie Cosmos, they should not be able to cremate a person. All right. They should not. When there's a homicide, it's a suspected homicide or a suspected crime, the police should have never let Jen say, go cremate Maddie. It's just so bad. It's so bad that they did that. Heidi says Jen's gross. She's like, Stefan Stern seemed dirty and they're both sleeping all day like people do when they're coming down. And that was every day, Heidi. That was an everyday thing. It's like up and down, because that's what addicts do. Right? Gina F says, I bet she was fighting with Jen. And that's really interesting because they didn't get to get those fingernail swabs. They didn't get to get anything, but Jen was in that house all the time. So if there were DNA, it's easy to refute that evidence because of that. Yeah, Keimani was cremated too. We're going to talk about Keimani tomorrow and how the family is grossly been fighting over Keimani's body, and it's a big money grab, in my opinion. And again, say a prayer for Keimani and Naziah. And I got to put Maddie in that category too. I got to put Maddie in that category because Maddie, it was so normalized with the abuse that was happening to her. Now, the coroner released her body for cremation, but they shouldn't have. They can never go back and check something that they missed, just like the house with the Idaho 4, how they demolished it. They can't go back to it now. So it doesn't matter if the coroner released it. I think there should be a law that says when a person, it's suspected homicide that took their life, they should not be able to just cremate them right away. That is one law that I think should change. All right. Like Tammy Daybell, Synth, you're absolutely right. Good thing the Mormon religion and Chad Daybell didn't believe in cremation, right? I think they should keep it until they get everything they need. I don't think it should be a time. I don't think they should have a time because it's so written in that rule of books for people, criminals, that you commit a crime and you get them cremated right away and then all this happens, right? Yeah, there should be a hold till there's a resolution. I agree. All right, let's keep going. Microwave cheese, good to see you, my friend. All right, so yeah, the saliva, I believe it's saliva, guys, a buccal swab. So if you guys are talking in chat about the buccal swab, that's something they put in their mouth and they check for, so they do a saliva test. It's not like they pulled a strand of hair from Steph and it was his saliva. All right, so there it is there. I didn't even get to that. You can see item 13. They did a breast swab from Maddie. All right, and that's number 13 is Maddie's chest or breast area, and complete STR DNA profile was obtained from her breast area, and they found Stefan Stern's profile from that area. So from her chest. Now that shouldn't be there, guys. There should not be Stefan Stern's saliva on Maddie's breast area or chest. All right. You guys should be infuriated. We should be infuriated to hear that Stefan Stern's saliva is anywhere near anybody's young daughter's chest.